Hey everyone, my name is Adam. Today I want to show you how to build nested functions inside Excel. This is a spreadsheet that we used this week to calculate a final bonus based on tenure, and they asked us to build this. And so we're going to build this, but we're going to do it with two other methods, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this thing just a little bit because I want a specific reference to 0 inside this, okay? So, and I'm going to format paint this thing right here so it looks the same. Now that I have this, I'm going to insert some space right here, okay? And now I want to copy this thing. I want to put it right here, but I'm going to paste it special and I'm going to transpose it so that it looks like that. Okay, this is perfect, exactly what I want. Now I'm going to start right here. By default, everybody gets this value. Okay, we're going to anchor this. In the end column. Okay. No, yes, we anchored that in 1. Okay. Now we're going to build the next function. This function says if the logical test is the tenure, okay, and we're going to anchor this in the E column is greater than our value up here, the years, and we're going to anchor this in the 1 row. They get this value right here, and again we're going to anchor that in the 2 row. Otherwise, they get this value right here, and we're not going to anchor this, and you're going to see why. Okay, they get $1,000 bonus. And if I drag this over here, every single one of these is the same conditional. Now maybe you have an and so you can't drag these over, but you're going to have to do a different function in somewhere. It might not be an if, it might be an if and an and, or an and whatever. But in this case, because these were all using the same lookup table, it was easy to be able to do it this way. Okay. Now I can drag these down like this, and I have all the same values right here as I had there. If I grab this column here, you'll see they're identical. Okay, so with building the table, lookup table in the right place, and providing a 0 value and writing 1 function, I was able to drag both directions, and I have the results from all that nested function. Okay, it was very easy to do that way. If it was me, I would prefer to simply hide all these columns and leave my values, leave those there. And this is the resulting column. And the fact that it uses 6 other columns to build that is kind of irrelevant. But they want us to know how to build nested functions. And so, okay, there's another way to build nested functions, again, using this same trick. So now that I have these functions here, we're going to use 6 different functions. We're going to use something called address. We're going to use the row function. We're going to use the column function. We're going to use the substitute function. And we're going to use one more function. It'll come to me. Formula text. And and we're going to use the indirect function. Okay, these 6 functions, and we're only going to write them at once, will build, believe it or not, build this equation for us using this table instead of that table from this data right here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask for the address of the row. And so address takes a one based number for a row and one based number for a column from a cell. And so you say, tell me what the row is, and then tell me what the column is. Okay? For this, and return me the address, and it gives me N6. Now I need it to be not with the dollar signs, and so I'm going to change this, and there's another function right here, and I want to use the 4, and now it gives me N6. Great. Now I know all of the addresses for my formulas, and the reason I want to use that is because I'm going to use this function called formula text. And formula text, I'm going to say indirect, okay, and the reference for this thing, like that. And it gives me the formulas for each one of these cells. And if we double click on these, you can see, boom, I have formulas for each one of those things. Okay, now that I have the formulas, I'm going to paste them over here. I'm going to do some work over here. I'm going to transpose them up and down so that it makes it easy for us to see what's going on here. And so I'm going to paste special, and I want to do 2 things. I just want the values. I don't need the formulas anymore, and I want to transpose them. Okay, and now I have them right here. Now we have to do very simple substitution. Okay, we start with this thing. This is this formula right here. Okay, and all we're going to do is every time inside this text, when it sees this one, it's going to put this value, and when it sees this one, it's going to put this value, because that's the function that's inside each one of those references. And so we'll build this based on that. And so equals substitute into this text the wherever it finds this, please replace it with this. And we don't anchor anything because we're just going to drag this up like this. Okay, and like magic, it substituted each one of those things inside for us and built us a nested function, and it's almost perfect. We have to do one more substitute on this because every single begin of a function requires an equal sign, but when you nest the functions, you don't put equal signs inside. So we have all these extra equal signs inside here, and so we're going to get rid of all of those equal signs by saying substitute all the equal signs with nothing. And we're going to do, we can now copy this function, and I kid you not, we're going to go over here and we're going to paste it right here. We're going to paste the value of it. Okay, and we're going to double click on it. We're going to put an equal sign in front of it. It uses all of those references. We hit enter, it calculates. We drag this down, and we have all the same values that we have right here calculated in one nested column. We wrote a function here, an address row. We wrote a formula text. We drug them across. We copied and pasted and transposed them. We then wrote a substitute and a function once. We drug it up. We wrote a second substitute. We copied and pasted it back. And we have a perfectly nested function. Okay. You can do the same thing if one of these columns was an and or an if. You could do the same thing if it was a sum at the end. It doesn't really matter as long as you're building them that the references are that you start with the outermost function first on the bottom. Okay, and work up. Anyway, I hope this was useful for you.